Hello and good morning. Today let us continue the first chapter, the Cold War era, from your class 12 political science textbook, Contemporary World Politics. Today we will discuss India and the Cold War. As a leader of NAM, India response to the ongoing Cold War was twofold. At one level, it took particular cares in staying away from the two alliances. Secondly, it raised its voice against the newly decolonized countries becoming part of these alliances. India's policy was neither negative nor passive. As Nehru remanded the war, non-alignment was not a policy of fleeing away. On the contrary, India was in favor of actively intervening in war affairs to soften Cold War rivalries. India tries to reduce the differences between the alliances and thereby prevents differences from escalating into a full-scale war. Indian diplomats and leaders will often use to communicate and mediate between Cold War rivals, such as in the Korean Wars in the early 1950s. It is important to remember that India chose to involve other members of the non-alliance group in these missions. During the Cold War, India repeatedly tries to activate those regions and international organizations which were not a part of the alliances, led by the United States of America and USSR, Soviet Union. Nehru reposed great faith in a genuine commonwealth of free and cooperating nations that would play a positive role in softening, if not ending, the Cold War. Non-alignment was not, as some suggest, a noble international cause which had little to do with India's real interests. And non-aligned posture serve India's interests very directly in at least two ways. What are the two ways? Let us see. First, non-alignment allows India to take international decisions and stand that serve its interests rather than the interests of the superpower and their allies. Secondly, India was often able to balance one superpower against the other. If India fear, ignores, or unduly pressurized by one superpower, it could tilt toward the others. Neither alliance system could take India for granted or bully it. India's policy of non-alignment was criticized on a number of counts. Here we may refer to only two criticisms. First, India's non-alignment was said to be unprincipled in the name of pursuing its national interests. India, it was said, often refused to take a firm stand on crucial international issues. Secondly, it is suggested that India was inconsistent and took contradictory posture and stand, having criticized others for joining alliances, but India signed the Treaty of Friendship in August 1971 with the USSR for 20 years. This was regarded particularly by outside observers as virtually joining the Soviet alliance system. The Indian government's view was that India needed diplomatic and possibly military support during the Bangladesh crisis, and that in any case, the treaty did not stop India from having good relations with other countries, including the United States of America. So, non-alignments as a strategy But non-alignment as a strategy evolves in a Cold War context in spite of severe criticism. With the disintegration of the USSR and the end of the Cold War in 1991, non-alignment, both as an international movement and as the core of India's foreign policy, lost some of its earlier relevance and effectiveness. However, non-alignments contain some core values and enduring ideas. It was based on recognition that decolonized states share historical affiliations and can become a powerful force if they come together. It means that the poor and often very small countries of the world need not become followers of any of the big power, that they could pursue an independent foreign policy. It was also based on a resolve to democratize the international system by thinking about an alternative world order to redress existing inequities. These core ideas remain relevant even after the Cold War was ended. So that is the end of this chapter, the Cold War era, the first chapter in your contemporary world politics. So next time we will continue the second, that is bipolarity.